Floridian now. It's been 12 years.
Yeah, that makes you.
All right. Oh, hi, Laura. Okay, I think we're going to get started. I want to welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm super excited to be hosting this webinar along with Alistair Martin, who is the CEO of TRMG, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself and what he does. Andrew Duell was supposed to be here. Something came up. So I'm super excited to have Alistair here talking with us from Chicago. Super exciting. For those who don't know me, my name is Alyssa Freeman. I'm the Executive Director for the Marine Industries Association of Palm Beach County. We are the proud owners of the Palm Beach International Boat Show. And I also want to start by saying that if you are a member and exhibitor and you have not been contacted yet by Informa, they are providing refunds for the Palm Beach International Boat Show. So if they haven't reached out to you yet, I know their intentions were to reach out to everybody, but there are hundreds, literally hundreds of exhibitors. You can give them a call, talk to somebody on their sales team, and they can help you out. And so, yeah, I think that's my housekeeping item for right now. And so I'm going to turn it over to Alistair and let you introduce yourself and tell us about you and what your company does.
So just before we start, I've just seen a message on the chat that says, I'm only able to hear Alyssa. Can everybody else hear me okay? I don't know if that's a one-off issue or if it's the same for everyone. If you can hear me, can you just put a message in the chat to say that you can? Okay, Matt says he can. Good, okay, then I'm just gonna roll and assume that it was a one-off problem. So yes, thank you. I am Alistair Martin, I'm the CEO of TRMG. I've been working around boat shows for 21 years. Under normal circumstances, as a business, what we do is provide a digital platform. It's kind of like an app. It's not an app, but it looks and behaves like an app that lives alongside the boat show. It's shared with attendees a couple of weeks before the show opens, and it effectively helps people navigate the boat buying process. It helps them connect with attendees at the show. They use it a lot in the build-up to a show, and then, of course, when they get on site at the show, they use it on their mobile phones. So that's what we have been doing for the last 5-10 years here in the States. We work very closely with a lot of the exhibitors who are on site at Palm Beach Boat Show already. Most of them are just the sort of early adopters of this kind of clever mobile technology. So we found ourselves very well placed to provide some kind of alternative when the physical Palm Beach Boat Show wasn't going to happen anymore. We sort of stepped in and said, we can do this thing for you. And, you know, we are in uncharted territory. We've only done this once or twice before, replacing a physical show with a virtual show, but we're pretty well placed to do it because of the work that we have done over the last 5 or 10 years. So that's me. So you're not newcomers, really. I mean, you've been involved with our show in some aspects, so you have that familiarity. So that's should be comforting to people. It is to me, I know. Yeah, we're the official media partner of the show. So we attend, we're always on site. We've worked closely with all of the exhibitors for the last 2 years at least. I've been as a visitor before that, but we do boat shows generally. As I say, for the last 20 years, I've worked alongside the British Marine Federation for their boat shows. We're involved in Mets Trade in Amsterdam. We do IBEX and all the NMMA shows, and then all of these Informa US boat shows as well. So we're boat show people. We know what we're doing. I love it. I love it. So speaking of the virtual show, could you start by giving us an overview of the plan for the Palm Beach International Boat Show? Sure. So from the outset, we need to say, obviously, it's not going to be anywhere near as good as the official, you know, proper show. This is just the best that we can do to try to make sure that we provide a platform that allows attendees who are coming to the physical show with access to the things that they wanted to achieve while they were on site, you know, at the show. So we've broken it up into various portions. On May 14th, it will go live. And at that point, the sort of site will open up, the show will open. People will be able to log on and see it. There will be a welcome from Andrew Duell, and then there will be a series of sort of portions of the show that you can go to. Now, we've tried to psychologically kind of make it look and feel as much as familiar as possible. So the site will open probably with a schematic map of the Palm Beach show that people are typically kind of familiar with, and you'll be able to click on various parts to achieve what you want to achieve. So we've kind of thought about what do people want to get out of the show. Mostly it's shopping. Mostly they want to buy products or they want to buy a boat. So a lot of this is focused around the shopping experience. And there's also kind of an education, element as well, because people would go to the Palm Beach Boat Show and possibly expect to see sort of seminars and things. So let's look at that area first. There's going to be an area that we're calling the stage, which is our education portion of the show. There's no sort of sales opportunities in there. It's purely education. That will open with a panel of experts that are live on hand to receive questions from our attendees. So at any point over the next 6 weeks, from May 14th until the end of June at least, you'll be able to fire off any questions, and we'll have a panel of experts who will receive those questions. They will record video answers to them, and they will be posted in this kind of stage area. So there's an engagement opportunity there. Also in that stage area, we're going to have a whole series of seminars similar to this one that will happen live, but then the recording will be online in the stage area, so you can go back and view it, a week after it's happened. But it will continue to populate with these live events. So it might be that on Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m., there is a webinar about getting internet on your boat or maintenance or whatever else, and you'll be able to see the schedule and you'll be able to sign up there. So that's the kind of education portion of the show. Does that bit make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. What are some of the topics that you have right now going for the seminars?
Yeah, there's a whole plethora of different things. So the guys that normally do the Aquazone will do all of their sort of fun on the water things. There'll be a handful of kind of pre-recorded bespoke video content seminars that they'll put out. There's all sorts of boat buying clips. There's all the headline issues that you would expect to sort of see covered. We will probably launch some kind of teaser content, so you'll be able to see a list of the upcoming seminars soon, so you can have a flick through that and look. But it's all of the things that you would expect to be able to see on site at the physical boat show.
That's really cool. I saw something about an artist. It popped up recently in my email or on social media about an artist doing a seminar. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, some of them are more niche than others, but we'll have a wide audience. So it's one of those things you can opt into sections that you're interested in. And if you're not interested, you ignore it, just move on.
Yeah.
All right, so the next portion of the show is the more kind of shopping. All of the other areas are more kind of shopping focused. There will be an area where there are news, kind of non-commercial news. So that's just an interesting, area to see what's going on in the industry. There'll be a promotions area, so people who have specific promotions that our audience might want to take advantage of. You can list all of your, deals and things there. A big one that will be important for people who are attendees is the online shopping portal that we have. So it's supposed to replicate any kind of online shopping experience that you might have, whether it's Expedia or whether you're clothes shopping, where you might go onto a website like a Ralph Lauren or something and be able to say, I want women, I want dresses, I want navy blue, and it will come up only with people who offer that. We are aiming to offer exactly the same experience with our exhibitors. So if you are looking for a satellite navigation piece of equipment, you can click electronics, stat navs, and it will come up specifically with exhibitors who can offer that product. And from there, you'll be able to click to their website and make a purchase. So that's a big portion. And every exhibitor who was contracted to be on site at the Palm Beach Boat Show gets that automatically free of charge. There's no cost to be involved in that. It's just sort of a free service. More detailed than that is the sort of docks area and the sort of tents or on land area. So if you're looking specifically to buy a boat, you will visit our docks area, and from there you will have three options. There's a brokerage section where we've teamed up with the IYBA to see whether we're still in the process of executing this, but the aim is that we will have every brokerage boat that would have been on site at the show listed in this brokerage section with all of the normal search tools. So you'll be able to find by length or size or price or whatever it is you want, and you'll be able to find those brokerage boats. We'll also have the same every boat at the show list that you would normally find at the show, either on our website or in the official show guide or whatever. There's not a huge amount of detail in the boat list, but every boat at the show will be listed on that list. So you can search again by manufacturer, by a number of different factors. The next part is the only sort of paid optional upgrade portion of the show, which is the virtual booth. And a virtual booth is sort of a microsite that most of the manufacturers who are on this, at this show have done it. A lot of the big dealers have done it. When you click on their name, let's say you picked Beneteau, you'll click on Beneteau, it will come up with a lot of the rich kind of engagement options and marketing content options that they can offer. So my team build those for exhibitors who have taken up that option to add a virtual booth. And that's a very useful tool. That is where most of the lead generation and actual sales happen. For these virtual shows, it's also by far and away the most popular section of the show. When we look back at the analytics and we see which areas people like, the education is popular, the online shopping is popular, at least 3 or 4 times more popular than both of those is the virtual booths, because as we know, the boats are the stars of the show, and people want to go on and look at videos and virtual tours and all that sort of thing. So that's the place where you can host all of that information. And it's very similar for the tents and on land portion. You'll click on there, and that will be all the products and services that you would expect to find, in that front area of the physical Palm Beach Boat Show. So if you're looking for modeling or engines or products, that's where you'll find those virtual booths. So that's a quick overview of what you can expect to see when the show opens.
That was a great overview. I think you answered a lot of questions for me, for sure. And I love how you're having the different defined areas. I think that's going to be helpful for people in navigating, what they want to do.
I think as well, the psychology of it being an event. There's an awful lot of live things happening, and we want this to feel more like an event than just a rehashed website. So I like the way that the map supports that concept. You are walking around, but you know where to go when you're looking for something specific.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm looking forward to the virtual tours. I think that's going to be super cool.
Yeah, we're seeing an awful lot of those now. I mean, it's important to point out that we're not creating that content. This is content that's been created by the manufacturers, by other companies who are expert in that. We are just a platform that pulls all of that information together and makes it very easy and convenient for someone who's in the market to buy a boat this year to get access to everybody's information and to take all of those, tours as much as you can instead of being, on site at a show. You should be able to do that here. And I think we've probably got around about 50 or 55 different virtual booths already created. So a very significant portion of the industry is involved with doing this already.
That's great. And just to reiterate, every exhibitor who was going to be at the original Palm Beach International Boat Show will have not necessarily a virtual booth, but they will have that searchability. They will have that exposure. No matter what.
Yeah, let's make that line very clear. So the exhibitor list that we have, which is every contracted exhibitor at the show, they will be included in this kind of online shopping portal automatically. So there's a form to fill in that people should have received. Your details will be the same as they would be on our website or within our official show guide. You'll be listed there. You have the opportunity to submit promotions and non-commercial news stories free of charge. So there's a form that you can fill in to submit those. We have to keep those news stories non-commercial because we want our attendees to click on the news section and know they're getting news. They don't want to see 700 press releases about, boat launches and things. That's a news section.
Right.
So all of that content is automatically included. There's no charge. We're doing all that work free of charge, just basically hoping to support the industry and keep the platform alive. The only thing that there's a charge for is the upgrade to this kind of virtual booth, which typically takes my team 3 or 4 hours of work to put it all together. So there's a charge for that. Everything else is free of charge.
Great. And I will say, as an exhibitor, I got the email from Caitlin, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, and it was really easy. I mean, it was, bullet points, bam, bam, bam. I went in, I made sure our info was correct, and then went down there. So just going through the motions, it was very user friendly and easy. So if you haven't done that yet, if you're an exhibitor and you got the email, please, it's very easy. Just make sure all your information is correct.
Yeah, that's a good point. If anyone who's seeing this has any questions or any concerns about that part of the process, shoot me an email and we'll make sure to respond to you quickly.
Perfect. So the virtual show is going to be kicking off May 14th at 10 a.m. So is it going to, and you kind of mentioned this earlier, but it's going to extend beyond May 14th, correct?
Yeah. So as I say, there's a lot of this that is uncharted territory, and we're learning as we go. You know, as a business here, there's probably 70% of all these processes that we're absolutely experts at. We know exactly what we're doing, and there's another 30% that we're really learning as we go. And the length that one of these shows could happen is definitely one of those things that we're learning. So we launched another show for a cancelled show in the middle of March, expecting that the virtual show would last for 5 days. And after 5 days, we realized that we were still getting 10 or 15% of new virtual attendees coming to the event. So we extended it to 2 weeks. And at the end of 2 weeks, we extended it again to 5 weeks. So armed with that sort of small pool of knowledge, we've decided that the period that we will be actively promoting this show is going to be 6 weeks from May 14th. So the show will stay online all year. You'll always be able to come back and access it, but we'll be actively promoting it with all of our kind of outreach, starting probably now with sort of paid teaser promotions for the show, saying this show is coming on May 14th. Then there'll be a week of really good, strong headline pushes that we'll send out to everybody saying the show can come and check it out. Then there'll be another 5 weeks of promoting specific areas of the show. So we might have snippets of some of the live seminars being posted out on our social media platforms with links to come to the stage area, that sort of thing. So it will be heavily promoted for 6 weeks. And then after that period, we'll still be doing passive promotions, but less of the strong, paid stuff. And also we don't want to be repeating the same messaging to the same people. So my feeling is that we'll see about 95% of the new unique visitors coming to the site between May 14th and the end of June. And after that time, we'll have a continuation of sort of readership, but it will mostly be people coming back to buy things. The people that will have visited it in May, and they'll come back in June or July to buy products and services.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, so if I'm hearing you correctly, for the 6 week portion where it's active, that will be where, like, let's say the seminars will be spread out among that 6 weeks at different times. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what's the registration process like for people who want to attend the virtual show? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So we should cover the kind of outreach, the distribution. It's going to be enormous. It's going to be far bigger than most of the physical events that we've had, because everyone is desperate for some good news at the moment and something positive to say. So we have a big email database, primarily of people who had pre-purchased tickets to this event or have signed up to a Palm Beach Boat Show newsletter to say, please contact me about the Palm Beach show. So that's our core. Reaching them via email strongly over the next week or two. So that's a big part of our distribution. But on top of that, we have other email lists that we'll use. We have all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of them. We have a whole series of social media influencers that have big audiences of people. We have a lot of news coverage. We have paid advertising going out. So the outreach is going to be absolutely enormous. Typically, most of the companies who have virtual booths, they also share it with their audiences. So you can send a link if you're, I don't know who a good example would be, I won't pick one out, but if you were a big yacht manufacturer and you had a virtual booth, you can share the link to your virtual booth with your own following. And they land, instead of landing on the sort of homepage of the event, they land specifically on your page. Now from there, they can navigate around and see the rest of the show as well. But it's good. It's like a community. It's like the marine industry all chipping in together to build this vast audience of people. So the outreach is going to be very strong. The process, once people hear about it, is that they have to enter their first name, their last name, their email address, and the country they come from. That's it. And then you're into the show. That information is not passed on to third parties. So we're not selling lists of data to dealers and manufacturers. You're not going to be hounded by people for coming to this. It's just kept within, with us. And it's used so we can keep an eye on who and how many people attend. So it's pretty simple.
That's good to know. And yeah, it's important for us to have that demographic information and keep that internal. So I think that'll be reassuring for people to know. And I was speaking to Lana yesterday, and I heard we already had 2,000 people registered, which is, I think, super exciting from all over, not just here in Florida or Palm Beach County, but all over the world, which is, I think it's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very encouraging sign because we're still so far away from the event. To have that many at this stage is definitely a positive sign.
Yeah, it is. Now, this is a question that I've gotten a lot, and that is, can companies still exhibit virtually if they were not originally part of the regular show?
I'm afraid not. They can't. We've had to put some kind of rule in place. In order to have a virtual booth, in order to be involved in this show, you had to have been a contracted exhibitor at the Palm Beach Boat Show. And given how this thing has exploded over the last week or two, we would have had thousands and thousands. It would have become overwhelming. So we've had to kind of keep that rule in place. If you're a manufacturer and your product is on site with a dealer, of course you can have a virtual booth, but you have to have been contracted with Informer at the Palm Beach Boat Show in order to physically be able to reach this audience.
Okay, well, there you have it. There's our answer, everybody. Yeah. So what else you mentioned that you've done this a couple other times before. Is there anything that's going to be unique with the Palm Beach International Boat Show that hasn't been done before? Any other unique features that you can think of?
Well, I mean, I would guess for the audience that's listening to this, there will be more concerned about. I've probably seen 30 or 40 of these different kind of online shows and live events and things crop up over the last month, while we've all been on lockdown. So there is an awful lot of this type of thing going on. And I think we're all going to get burned out by so many of them. I think the unique thing about this event really is the audience. So at the moment, I am speaking to every manufacturer. We've had everyone reach out and say, what is this? How does it work? What do we do? And they're all after the same thing. They're all after an audience of people who are in the market to buy a boat. And that's the one unique thing I think we can offer. So I've seen lots of these other events. Some of them have very good technology. Some of them have, different live things. Everybody's doing something slightly different, and some are better than others. And everyone has something that they're sort of hanging their hat on. For us, the unique thing is an audience of people who are going to buy a boat in the next year. That's very, very hard to find for most of the big exhibitors, dealers, manufacturers. It's very easy to find big audiences of people who are interested in boating. That's not a hard thing to achieve. In fact, most of the bigger dealers, they could just do this themselves. They don't need us to create, to execute a good live event. They can do all of that stuff themselves, but they can only reach audiences of people who bought a boat in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and that's not really useful to them. They want that niche audience of people who are in the market to buy a boat. The analogy I often give is that boat shows are most similar to wedding shows because once you buy a boat, you probably don't buy another boat for 7 to 10 years. Some people never buy another boat. So it's hard to find that audience of people who are going to buy a boat in the next 12 months. And I think that's the one unique thing that we have to offer this kind of audience. All of the other things, we'll make it as pretty as we can. We'll make it as functional as we can. When you see it, you may see it and compare it to other ones and say, well, this other event does this, that's better. This one does that. Our unique thing is an audience of people who are in the market to buy boats. That's the one thing people should focus on. Our role as a boat show has always been that open door to get the funnel, the start of the funnel. How do you find people who are planning on buying either their first or their next boat? And even if the physical show doesn't happen, our aim is to still fulfill that precise role. We will put the buyers in contact with the sellers in the best possible way that we can through this virtual show. So that's our unique offering of it.
Great, thank you. And I know we're starting to run out of time. So if you do have a question before we go, submit it in the chat button now. One other question has to do with going back to the exhibitors and the virtual booths. So it's up to, correct me I'm wrong, but it's up to the exhibitors to come up with all of their digital and their graphics and all of that, their video, all of that, and they submit all of that to you, to your team.
Yeah, it's surprisingly easy. The process is quick and it's simple. If someone says we would like to do a virtual booth, one of my design team will send a list of requirements, and it's all things that people already have. They have those assets already. Most of them live on the homepage of their website. So it'll be linked videos, virtual tours, chatbots, whatever you would typically use on the homepage of your website. You send those assets over to us. My team creates a mock-up of the virtual booth and send it back to you. The process usually takes a couple of days. At that point, the virtual exhibitor looks at it and says, okay, we want to add a sign up to our newsletter. We want to add a link to our website. We want to add this portion. We want to move this around. We make the changes, we agree on the final version, we sign it off, and on May 14th, we share it with the world.
Sounds so easy. Great.
It is. It's much easier than else.
And we're doing a virtual booth, so we're kind of going through the process right now. And like I said, it's been very smooth sailing. So just for everybody who's listening right now, who's considering it, it's really not complicated. And your team has been great with making it as smooth as possible. So
good.
That's my testimonial. Okay, so with that, I just want to let people know that also on May 14th at 9:30, there's going to be, we're going to be holding a press conference, a small press conference at Palm Harbor Marina. It's going to take place at 9:30. That information is going to be going out soon. It hasn't been released yet, but hopefully you have seen the information about kind of a secondary event to that, the sounding of the horns. And so what we're trying to do is to get obviously Palm Harbor Marina involved, all of the boats there, and then all of the boaters in our community, all of our other members who might have boats and be on the water to that area. So anywhere between like Palm Harbor Marina and the downtown docks where the show would typically take place, stage boats there. And at 10 o'clock, promptly at 10 o'clock, blow your horn for 30 seconds. That's what we're telling people, 30 seconds. And so once it's going to transition from that press conference right into the sounding of the horns, and that will be our official kickoff to the show. I know that's usually how we end our regular show, our Palm Beach International Boat Show, as you know, because you've been there, is with the sounding of the horns. But instead, we're going to start and kick off the show with that. So if you're listening and you are around on that day, again, next Thursday, May 14th at 10 a.m., between Palm Harbor and the downtown docks. Just remember, keep the boats about 50 feet apart. And then we were also thinking, well, what about people who don't have boats and want to be involved? And so now we'd love to welcome people to come downtown along the seawall. I'm going to get some blowhorns for people. And so we can do it on the seawall and on the downtown docks. And I think that'll be fun too. So if you're interested in coming down, I want to make sure I have enough blowhorns for everybody. So get with me and we'll make it happen. I just want to get as many people there as possible. We'll maintain our safety. We'll be 6 feet apart and I'll have my mask on. But yeah, I want to really kick it off and the whole team does. Lana, I know we've been working on this and trying to drum up some excitement. So please, when you see it, share it, help us spread the word. And we're all, I know I can speak for the Marine Industries Association. We're super excited. We can't wait. And let's do it.
Yeah, that'll be a good fun event. I suppose it's worth finishing on a positive note as well. It's an interesting position to be in, the position that I'm in now, speaking to everybody nonstop, all day, every day. And I suppose I just want to share the positive, the sort of light at the end of the tunnel here, because it's encouraging to keep hearing back from people far more positive news than I was expecting to. People are reporting better than expected sales in this industry at the moment. I think we're really starting to see how things are changing for the better now. You know, there's a lot of other industries that we're competing with for the same kind of leisure spending dollars that are struggling an awful lot more than this industry is. Hotels, travel, you know, there's a lot of things that people might have had planned for themselves that they're just not going to do next year. You know, the idea of traveling to Australia for a family holiday or going, you know, a lot of things are not on the table anymore. I think we're going to see a very good, positive year in 2021 for this industry, because the end product or lifestyle that we all sell, it fits into the way the world is going to change, the culture of things post-pandemic. It's domestic, it's very social distancing friendly, you know, in its nature. So it's encouraging to see the positive signs that are going to come out of this. And a big part of what we're doing here isn't just filling the void of the Palm Beach Boat Show isn't happening. A big part of it is gearing up the industry and making sure that we all adjust to the way the new process of buying a boat in the future is going to happen. And everyone's involved. It's great to see everyone having 5 years of technological advancement in the next 6 months and adjusting the way that they do business. So yeah, I guess we just want to reassure everyone that we are on the front foot here. We are making sure that we are providing the tools that will help people buy a boat in a post-COVID world. We're on the case, feel reassured. We'll still fulfill the same role that we've always filled. We'll connect buyers with sellers. And I think, obviously we've all got a very tough 6 months, but after that, I think we're going to see a good bounce in 2021. So it's encouraging. I
agree. Thank you so much, Alistair, for being with us today.
My pleasure.
I think everybody's learned a lot. I know I have. So thank you so much. And we'll see everybody on May 14th, next Thursday. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.